Hello, everyone. Welcome to The Raid, the GamerAccess.com's PC gaming and technology podcast. I'm your host, Bronson Fiore, joined by the ever tired Anthony Ta.
I am indeed very tired. Good
Uh,
evening.
all right, so, Mr. Ta, we've been playing some PC games, or I have at least.
I have played a PC game, yes.
Is it your MMO?
Actually, I've been playing two PC games. Yes, first, it's one of them is, my MMO. And the second one is the endless time sink that is me designing cars and engines in Automation, the car tycoon game. They recently had a big patch beta hit Steam for the people who bought it on early access, and I am digging it. You can build rear engine cars. You get to tweak more with compression ratios. You can put turbos on your V6, and you've got more body styles, and you've got convertibles now, and you can design your company, and you can also do market demographics, which are made up regions. And you can find out that maybe designing a 1950s Cadillac is not very desirable in the year 2015. So
Okay.
that stuff is pretty interesting. As for Final Fantasy 14, I kind of feel like a lot of people are straining for content right now. Everyone's like, where's patch 3.1? Because right now, there's only like 2 dungeons you can run as far as getting your new gear. And then there's this ultra super mega hard raid. And then there's the other raid where it's kind of more of a lower down level kind of thing that came out when the expansion came out. So I think I have the feeling that a lot of people in Final Fantasy XIV right now are starving for content. The raiders probably have finished a Savage Mode of Alexander, or it's really hard and they're still working on it. But as far as like the average player like me and a lot of people that I chat with in the game, we only have like really only 2 dungeons and leveling characters and crafting. That's about it. We're kind of sitting around waiting for the next 24-man raid. We're sitting around waiting for the next interesting primal fight or whatever. So things are feeling kind of dry right now. Knowing Square Enix, they put out like big patches, or knowing the development team, they put out big patches like every I forgot how often they put out patches. But it feels like the game needs a new one now because everyone burned through the story like crazy, so there's nothing to do. So, farm checklist. Did you do this? Check. Did you do this? Check. Okay. It's done.
So Warcraft is in a similar place because they said, okay, this is the last patch before the Legion, which, man, that pissed everyone off really bad with good reason, because it's like that means they basically did a patch for this expansion. Like they did one big content patch, and the rest is just eh. Anyway,
Wait. So they put out. So basically, the whole thing was that throughout.
Okay, hold on. Let me explain. 6.0 came out, which was the initial Warlords of Draenor.
Okay, so the big release.
Yes, the box, the big fucking box thing.
The big box with all the main story and
and then
New World.
And then 6.1, which was some improvements. It was time walking, and it was that's running old content but scaled to current level, and the selfie camera, and then 6.2, which was a new zone, the shipyard, um, flying in Draenor, and the new raid. The problem is, grinding out the reputation to get flying in Draenor is a giant pain in the ass that is torture. The shipyard is basically just kind of like the garrison, but a little more involved. Um, what else did I mention? There's one thing I mentioned before the raid. Anyway, and then the
Yeah, I'm sorry.
and then the raid itself, which is really good. Like I got into my first normal mode, Hellfire Citadel, last night, and that is a fun raid. Like with the exception of the first boss, that is a super fun raid. But
I love it when big raids are fun. Like to me, the most fun raids are not the ones that are the hardest. Because let's be honest here, I don't really find much fun in wiping 3 hours a night. It's very exhausting, and that's not really why I play games. But one of my absolute favorite raids is a 24 man that isn't really that hard, but I absolutely love it because it's so grand, it's so big, and everyone still kind of has a role. But it's not like supremely hard where it's like you all have to coordinate perfectly or else.
I think scaling the difficulty for a raid can be super hard. Like I think that it needs to be challenging, but it can't be like so hard that you pound your head against it. But it can't be so hard that it's torturous. Torturous. I think but so Hellfire Citadel's cool. Like that, it's a good piece of content, but that's the only really entertaining thing to do right now. Besides, time walking's cool, but there's no real reason to do it unless you're farming for certain things. So right now, with time walking, you can get gear, but all the stuff you would get from running Hellfire Citadel is better. You can get a mount, which is super cool. It's a dragon hawk, looks neat. A toy that turns you into a broken, and another like it's this unique item that allows you to port between Outland and Draenor.
Okay.
So, and you have to run time warped dungeons to save up currency to buy these. The mount is super expensive. It's 5,000, and you
Well,
get
it's a
10.
mount.
Yeah,
I don't recall I don't ever recall a case of a mount really being cheap in most circumstances.
But to put this in perspective, you get 5 marks for killing a boss.
Okay.
10 for killing an end boss. 10
Okay.
for completing a dungeon.
Okay, and how many marks do you need?
5,000.
So you can only get these marks like once a day kind of stuff, right?
No, these are not capped.
Okay, so you can run infinitely. So so you got 5 marks for bosses. So how would you say? So if you did one dungeon, what's the average amount of marks you would get out of a dungeon?
So you get 3 from each boss. So let's say there are about 3 bosses per dungeon. So you get about 20 from the bosses, 10 from completing it, so 30. So let's say you get 5,000 divided by 30. You would have to run 166 dungeons.
Assuming you run 2 dungeons a day, that's gonna take you about 80 days, which
this event
which takes
which will.
Okay, so it's gonna take 166 dungeons, and if you ran 2 a day, that's that's like 80 something days.
All right, hold on. Let's
which is almost 3 months on an event that lasts only 2 weeks.
Hold on. Let's say each dungeon takes about 10 minutes. So 166 divided by
10 minutes.
Yeah, like 10 to 20 minutes per dungeon.
Wait, that's how long dungeons take in that game?
You remember those dungeons? They were not like
dude,
long.
It was like big years. I'm completely used to Final Fantasy 14 dungeons, which could take anywhere between like 20 to 30 minutes each.
Okay, well, like
on average,
a WoW dungeon, if you're slow, will take like 30 minutes. Like if you're really slow, like or if you're under geared. But like at this point, most people are relatively geared and are like competent.
Gotcha.
The only bad part is because it scales you down to that level. Um, that like tanks and healers immediately shit their pants upon going in there because like you lose all this armor you had. Like you don't lose like you lose the statistic. Like your armor gets cut scaled back to what it was then. So like your armor gets like cut down by like 4/5. So like you're getting hit way harder. They're like, what the fuck is going on? Like healers are shitting their pants
Oh,
upon coming in there.
yeah. Yeah, Final Fantasy 14 does the same thing. It's called in this game it's called the item level sync. Basically, because obviously with the invention of new gear, new armor, new improvements, they I don't know what their logic is, but I'm thinking they feel that it makes dungeons too easy, or you kill a boss so fast that it breaks the dungeon. I've heard stories way back in the day how if you beat a boss too fast, it will break the dungeon before they fixed it.
But that's so much fun. Like I remember in Wrath of the Lich King, we DPS down Noth the Plaguebringer so fast that he didn't get to phase 2. Like
Oh
we would
yeah,
just
don't you
we
love
we
that?
would kill him so fast it broke his AI.
Don't you love that? I love it
It's the
when
best.
we go into 24-man raids and the DPS would hit so hard that normally would be like, oh, this big, we have to do this mechanic and make sure the tanks have to grab this ad and take it over here. But when the DPS smacks so hard that we don't have to do it, and we're not like, and we were only having like, whatever good gear was at the time, and that place was still new, and we're all just like, heck yeah, good DPS. And the DPS gets to shine for once because they smacked the boss so hard it saves the work for everyone else.
So
But yeah, it's totally fantastic. But
hold
where were
on.
we?
166 dungeons at 10 minutes apiece is okay, is 16. Well, hold on. At 10 minutes, I'm trying to figure out. So you'd want 166 times 10, right? And
Uh,
then
oh wait, what?
I'm trying to figure out how many hours that is. So let's say let's go to the middle ground. Let's say it takes 15 minutes to run these dungeons.
Okay, so you're gonna take 166 dungeons, and they're 10 minutes each, so
They're
15 minutes each. So you gotta
15.
multiply it by 15.
Okay, times 15.
Okay, and that's the total number of minutes that it would take to do
And then you
166 dungeons divided by
you
60
divide
to
by
get your hour
60.
count. To get your hour count.
41 and a half hours.
41 and a half hours in a 2-week event. So we're gonna take that number and divide it by 14 to get how many hours a day you would have to spend. At least, I'm hoping I'm doing my math right here.
So we'll round it up to 42. 42 divided by 14. You would need to run 3 hours a day.
Dear goodness.
Yeah, you're
That
doing it.
is a chore. Or at least to me, it's a chore.
So yeah, so right now what I'm doing is I'm running Hellfire Citadel and I'm just leveling my mage, which I started playing Fire Spec for the first time ever. Like ever. I didn't play Fire during any of my other previous time with my mage. It's weird.
But why didn't you do Arcane?
I did Arcane and Frost.
But Arcane's boring. G-kick.
Arcane back in the day and now does the most, or I believe it currently still does do the most damage. Back in Vanilla WoW, you actually wanted to be Frost because you could not be Fire in Vanilla WoW. It just wasn't a thing because you were going into all these fire dungeons, like Molten Core, where the enemies were resistant to fire.
Right, yes, those resistances.
Yes, back when resistance stats actually mattered. So like during Nax, for example, you had to have your regular gear, then your nature resistance gear.
Speaking of resistances, Final Fantasy XIV has all these elemental resistances, but I feel like they have absolutely zero worth in this game because I can't figure it out. Like there's elemental resistance like gems that you could, meld into your weapons and armor, and I'm just like, is there ever really a point for that? Apparently no. There was never a point for it, and I just kind of thought that maybe it was some leftover BS from 1.0 days, the dark days, the terrible days, the we really need to fix this game days. So elemental resistances are like worthless too. I mean, you could do something about it, but I don't think anybody really cares as far as high end rating goes.
Like Blizzard, like that was only really a thing during Vanilla and a little bit of the Burning Crusade, where it's like resistances actually matter, and then after that they realized,
Yeah, if you want to make it lifelike, sure, but that's a lot of work.
well, not only that, but like it means you have to have two sets of gear for certain bosses, and it just makes shit harder. So people didn't want to do it.
Yeah, people would rather want to figure out mechanics and wipe for 3 hours instead of figuring out, okay, guys, do we have a mage out there that isn't on fire?
It's like, okay, do we have like I remember during the Nefarian fight, he cast this spell that like would one shot you if you didn't have this specific cape. So everyone in your raid needed to farm up this fucking cape. It was the most annoying shit.
Oh yeah, there is a point to resistance. I remember now. Sorry, I'm half asleep. Is that debuffs? That's what happens. Debuffs. There's really no point in buffing up your resistances because those gems are completely useless and nobody wants them. Resistances do matter in Final Fantasy XIV when it comes to debuffs. Like if you fail to dodge an AOE in time and you get hit, it would do something like fire resistance down, and the boss was quite fire centric, so by not dodging you were going to burn up more often, or slashing resistance down. Basically just mostly for debuffs as far as I'm aware. So yeah, resistances kind of do matter. You're just kind of more of a, you take more damage from certain spells and attacks.
That was very similar concept back in the day, but once again they got rid of it because everyone hated it.
Yeah, I mean, like in Final Fantasy 14, nobody really talks about it. To us, to all the players here, as far as I could tell, it's just, oh, I take more damage. It's like your defense went down, which makes sense. A lot of RPGs do that, defense down. It's just a fancy way of saying, well, we're gonna make sure that when the boss casts fire, you burn more, but when he punches you, it hurts the same. So makes it slightly better. Actually, here's something that's really fantastic that they actually fixed in this expansion was that in 2.0, your protect only protected you from physical attacks. It did not protect you from magical. It did not help lower magical damage unless it was casted by a white mage. Then it could do both. Of course, that was a really stupid decision. So basically, they kicked it out of the window, and now anybody who casts protect gets both physical and magic, which is great. There used to be two versions of that.
So, Warcraft does have some events coming, thank God. So Brewfest is going on right now, which there are all these mini games and a special small little boss that you can go and fight to get special transmogs, mounts, things of that nature. It's basically Oktoberfest, but in WoW. The fair is coming back to the game on October 4th. You'll have mount races, mini games, stuff like that, and you get achievements, you get mounts, toys, heirloom gear, etc. And then my favorite event, the only holiday event where I have every achievement, the Hollow's End. It's the Halloween event. You can go trick or treating at every inn in the game. Like every inn you can go to get candy, which will give you buffs, debuffs, costumes, masks, etc. You can go to Goldshire, Karnos, or whatever the Horde has for their equivalent, and protect those towns from the Headless Horseman burning it down. And if you're a level capped player, you can go fight the Headless Horseman, and you have a chance to get really cool gear. Or if you're very, 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 very lucky, his awesome as hell mount. Um,
I
yeah.
think you told me about that achievement a long time ago.
I am still trying to get that mount, Anthony. I've been playing this game for 10
So
years.
what are you missing to get that mount?
It's just RNG. You just need to keep running the horseman and he'll drop it eventually.
So one day,
I am the fucking
many years,
master of Halloween in that game. My title is Thy Hollowed. I did the
but
stupid Halloween PvP achievements, which took me forever because I was in a PvE set.
but one
One day,
day,
one day, I'm hoping this is the Halloween. Hollow's End is easily my favorite event. It is so much fun. It
October is your
is.
favorite month, though, isn't it? It just makes it a little better, right?
I do love October.
By the
It's
way, the pumpkin, whatever that pumpkin Starbucks drink is,
pumpkin
yeah,
spice latte. Those are bad.
yes.
Even better though, Dairy Queen has pumpkin pie blizzards, and they are
Ooh.
delicious.
You know, I need to have some of that stuff because I hate to say this, but I don't really think I know what pumpkin tastes like. It's like I've never had pumpkin food.
Have you ever had pumpkin pie?
No.
The
I
fuck,
mean,
Anthony?
if I did, I was probably really little and in school, but I don't actually know what pumpkin tastes like.
Hold the phone. I need to go rewind it to that last thing. You've never had pumpkin pie.
Well, it's not like my family cooks it, and if I did have pumpkin pie, I was probably very little when or
I'm
in grade school when they probably served it in school or something. But I actually don't really recall the taste of pumpkin, which either means it's a long time ago or I've never had it.
I would say start with pumpkin pie.
Okay.
Like
Okay.
if you don't like pumpkin pie, you're definitely not gonna like anything else pumpkin.
Okay.
But like I freaking love like maybe that pumpkin blizzard also. Those are the two good starting points.
Okay.
Uh
Yeah,
wow.
yeah, add that to the list of strange things I've never had.
Uh, that's
This is like that's like my Ray food moment right there.
yeah, I was about to say like Anthony just had a Ray moment. Oh
That's
god.
kind of true. It's like I don't know what pumpkin tastes like right now.
That's wow. Okay.
I
I'll
do know what peppermint tastes like though. That I do know.
peppermint peppermint is delicious.
It is delicious depending what it is.
I will buy you a pumpkin pie blizzard sometime. It'll be delicious.
Hopefully, yes.
Um, there's one right by my work, so uh,
Fantastic.
yeah. I actually got stranded there like an hour before work. So wow, okay, that's a weird one. Um, but yeah, so we do have some PC articles and PC news. So StarCraft Legacy of the Void has a release date. It's November 10th. It's the third part of the StarCraft 2 story, third and final part. If you pre-purchase it, you get an exclusive prologue mission. You'll get access to the beta, and they talk about all the new stuff. This new co-op mode where you and a friend can control a single base. You can form allied alliances during co-op mode. Let's see. Let's see. There's 6 new units, 2 for each race, with new abilities. And if you buy the game, you will get a free hero for Heroes of the Storm. If you get the digital deluxe edition, which is $60 instead of 40, you will get a bunch of new portraits for StarCraft 2, a pet for World of Warcraft. Trying to figure out what this Diablo thing is. Oh, a transmog for Diablo, a card back for Hearthstone, and a mount for Heroes of the Storm.
Bonuses.
As for system requirements, uh, the recommended specs are an i5 or an AMD FX series, a 650 or a Radeon 7790, and 4 gigs of RAM. That's the recommended. The minimum just makes me laugh.
Well, to be
Windows,
honest, like here's the thing: why do some PC games get so popular as they do? Very low system requirements. I'm not joking. You remember that the laptop I had before my current one, that
yeah,
thing with
that junk HP, yeah.
yeah, that junky HP that ran Windows 7 had the world's most laughable, had an integrated chip and quad core processing that ran more like a dual core. That thing actually ran StarCraft 2 just fine. You just have to hit everything on low. And I'm like, there you go. There's a toaster game. Another toaster game right there for you.
Okay, so the minimum requirements: Windows
Yeah.
XP with the latest service pack,
Why do people. Why?
Intel Core 2 Duo.
It's like that thing. Like, guys, Windows XP is 14 years old now. Just give it up.
Um,
Like Windows 7, guys. Okay,
uh,
so that's the shocker of an operating system. Next.
a Core 2 Duo,
Okay.
an NVIDIA GeForce 7600 GT, or a Radeon HD 2600 XT, or an Intel HD 3000, and 2 gigs of RAM.
Okay, so video cards, alright. You need just a little bit. Just a little bit. 7600, that's 2006, 2007.
Old ass graphics card.
HD 3000 is actually not that old. It's basically the integrated chip that comes on sorry, was it?
Yeah, but it's still
It came on like 3 or 4 year old computers.
yeah, but it's an integrated chip though.
Yeah, it's an integrated
So,
chip, yeah, but basically you have no excuse to not be able to run StarCraft on just about anything at this point.
yeah.
It's like 7600, that's like freaking man.
Um,
But given the popularity of StarCraft, I'm pretty sure there are actually some people out there who do have an old system.
yeah, no. Those are actually the exact system requirements for Heroes of the Storm also. So,
Wow, make keeping things to the toaster.
yeah, so
Isn't that fantastic?
um yeah, I don't know. Those first 2 StarCraft games are really good. Hopefully the third one is just as good. You know, I really enjoyed those.
I've
Played
only played the demo. That was it.
all right.
Yeah, I'm not exactly very good at RTS games. If anything, I am complete utter garbage at RTS games. I'm more of a turn-based guy.
I am very much the opposite.
It gives me time to. I mean, I'm pretty sure it's partly because I actually also never play RTS games. I'm pretty sure if I put enough time and effort into it, I'll be okay. I just have this really bad tendency to invest too much time into researching instead of actually building an army. So it's actually pretty easy for someone to just walk in and mow me over just because I spent too much money and time developing R&D BS instead of building an army.
All right. Well,
Yeah. See, at least in the case of, like, say, Metal Gear Solid 5, I don't have enough money to develop anything, so okay, I'm just gonna go out in the field and kidnap more soldiers.
all right. So, that's pretty much it for news. But
Really painfully dead, isn't it?
games are coming out, man. Be playing games. Well, Metal Gear. Granted, not many PC exclusives are out until November, but you know.
You still have got options.
Anyway, PC Gamer did 2 articles I figured we should talk about and then call it a day.
Yes.
First is 10 things every PC gamer should own.
Okay, what should I own according to this article?
A magnetic screwdriver.
I don't have one of those in my PC fixing toolkit, but it does come in handy. You just can't. I don't know if those things actually affect the electronics because magnets are bad when it comes to that stuff. But as far as bolts go, yes, it is kind of handy because a case is. If you use a case that still requires tools, it is a bit of a tight spot, so it can be annoying.
All right.
I don't think it is the biggest essential because I've been working without one and I'm still okay.
All right. Well, secondary tools. You should supplement your driver with a handful of tinier tools. You can things like anti-static bracelets, small, like very very tiny screwdrivers, 54-bit driver set, stuff like that. ESD safe tweezers.
Okay.
All right.
Things I always little tools. That's a good idea. One that I actually love is I don't know what you call it, but it's one of those little things where if you drop a bolt into a tight spot, you can use this little thing that's kind of like, sort of like a hand that just kind of expands out, and just grabs the bolt out, which is fantastic. Let's see what else. Other extra little tools, different screwdriver sizes, and lots of extra screws because this is the problem with tools cases. They always use like different size bolts on everything. Just because that bolt fits into your hard drive doesn't mean it fits into your CD drive. So it's hella annoying.
All right.
Yeah, that's what I keep around.
Dust management, compressed air, things like that.
I think that's very important because you could have a clean bedroom and all that dust will still get in there, and dust will clog up the fans, and dust will make things noisier. And it's quite shocking because you pop open a computer case after it's been in use for 5 years without ever anything had to clean, and you take a can and you just go psst, and it's just this gigantic plume of dust just comes out and suffocates you. So there's that. Okay, that's number 3 on the list.
All right.
Oh, wait, that is number 3.
Next up is cable ties.
I don't use cable ties.
Okay.
Well, if you want to keep a clean case, yeah, you probably could use cable ties. I don't think it is an absolute essential because I haven't been using cable ties in just about every computer I've worked in, and they haven't blown up on me. So, yeah, that's my thought of it.
I mean, we use them in not Matt's PC. We use them in Ray's PC.
Well, yeah, but as far as something you need, no.
Okay, well,
No,
fair enough.
That's just for me. It's like for me, if you were if you were building a high-end system, yes, that you kind of expect that kind of quality. And if you look into your case a lot, I think, yeah, that would matter. But for someone like me building a system kind of on a budget and, hey, I'm not really staring at the internals every day, I don't think it's the worst ever. To me, it's more like a minor cable management thing, but pretty sure a lot of people disagree with that.
All right, next up is a headlamp. So like the that it's a band with a light on it that you put on your head, and you use it for like working on the inside of your case.
What's this list called?
10 things every PC gamer should own.
You don't need a headlamp. Matt
Okay,
does. I don't think Matt owns a headlamp when he works computers. I don't use a headlamp. What I do is I have a lamp over my head in my room. I turn it on and look, lots of light.
Well, apparently the fine folks at PC Gamer are going for the very hardcore enthusiast market who have to tear apart their PC constantly. So,
damn.
PC surgery.
Does it take that much precision to change out something?
Let's see. Whatever the wattage of bulbs hanging overhead, it's rarely good enough to illuminate every corner of your PC's inside. That good light often gets occluded by your own head, hands, and arms. So as you're working inside your case, seeing clearly is half the job, and no amount of clumsy positioned iPhone lights are going to get the job done. Amazon has some hilariously cheap headlamps for around $7. All right, well,
The only time I ever felt like maybe a headlamp would be useful is if I was doing something as extensive as putting in motherboards.
ah, after installing liquid cooling with Ray, I see a use for it. But I like for $7, sure, I'd buy a headlamp too for install if I was doing that
I
shit.
feel like that headlamp is just like, I wouldn't really use it for a PC, but I could kind of see it being much more useful elsewhere, like plumbing or fixing things around the house, or just fixing things in general. Actually,
There were some times working on the Warthog where I wish I had something akin to one of those.
yeah. Do I need a light?
All right. Next up, ergonomic gear. Your gaming setup is powerful, but isn't healthy. Don't shrug off the importance of good ergonomics. Your 10 billion DPI mouse won't count for much if it hurts to use. Invest in a wrist cushion for your keyboard and mouse. If it doesn't feel right enough, consider an ergonomic keyboard.
I do agree with that.
Yeah, no,
because here's the thing. What you said, like, here's the thing. PC, like, when it comes to like PC games, especially when you're talking about MOBAs, StarCraft, World of Warcraft, MMOs in general, you are playing them with. You're basically sitting down for a good block of time, playing a lot. So, if you don't take care of your body, you're going to be in a little bit of pain when it's over.
My girlfriend has that exact issue actually, where like we will sit and play Heroes of the Storm or League for some like Heroes for a good 2-3 hours straight, 4 hours straight. Just be like, okay, I need to stop. My wrist hurts.
Yeah, it's really important to take care of yourself if you're gonna game for a really long time.
I mean, I don't really have that issue, but like I definitely know people who do have it. My issue is like a good chair. Like I need to one of these days I need to invest money in like a really good office chair. Cause like if I sit and PC game for a while without getting up, my back hurts so bad.
For me, I noticed that it's more comfortable for me when my keyboard and mouse isn't sitting so low. Like you need to like raise it up almost to the monitor level for me to not, so my wrist isn't just like, my hand isn't like, I don't know, my wrist isn't like in some weird awkward position.
That's actually one thing that I really like about my desk at home and at work is the fact that like it's high up, or it's not high up, but it's at my chest because my chair is really low at both those places. So yeah, like I like so I don't really get that issue. But yeah, like I know legit people who have hand cushions and I know Trade Chat over from YouTube. She worked does videos for Wowhead. She has this really just it's this like $180 chair that she said it just makes all her back pain go away. And so I definitely see yeah, yes, I agree with this one.
Yeah,
sure.
me too. Like, look, when you're gonna game on your PC, you're not like gaming for like 10 seconds. You're sitting there for a while, or at least I think that's what a lot of PC gamers do. Like for me, like what's one of my issues? Staring at lit screens for hours eventually wears my eyes out. I have to like okay, I need a break. I need to stand up. I need to look out the window. I need to like look at the kitchen. I need to look something that isn't a giant glowing thing in my face.
I can help you with that one because I used to have that one until I got my current pair of glasses, these thick rims. Because when I was getting my lenses, they're like, "Yo, do you want to pay extra money for these? For these special lenses that reduce eye strain when looking at screens."
Okay, yeah, but even then, it's still kind of like a case of like take a break.
Yeah, I know it did help though. Like I'm saying, it helped.
Yeah. But even then, it's like, yeah, don't stare at the screen too long. It's like, for me, it's like, obviously, when I was little, I could stare at that screen for hours. But now it's like, now that I'm growing old, I'm gonna need to not stare at it like for like 6 hours straight.
Moving forward.
But ergonomics, yes, it's good. It's not good being in pain because let's be honest here, you really don't want to start having severe back problems at an early age.
So next
and
up,
it's gonna really suck when you get to that point in life where you start actually having back problems, like a lot of people do.
next up is a controller.
I can kind of agree with this one, yes.
Yeah. All right.
Some games you just have to have a controller to make it a lot better. Whether like used to be PC was like Flight Sim. I'm sorry, if you're gonna play Flight Sim, you're gonna need a joystick. Sorry. If you're gonna play a racing game, do you really want to play a racing game with buttons and a mouse?
Like, let me tell you, I have played Burnout at work on a keyboard and mouse, and I was just like, oh God, no, please, just like that.
Yeah, like you would rather want to get a racing wheel or a gamepad.
So that one I agree with. This next one I disagree with, a mouse pad.
I don't use the mouse pads at all.
I get a free mouse pad like every year and a half because I buy World of Warcraft collector's editions. I currently have 3 World of Warcraft mouse pads that haven't been touched, and I'm gonna get another one when Legion comes out. I'm gonna like start hoarding Warcraft mouse pads. So yeah, like I don't. Yeah, no. A high quality microphone.
I'd say at least a decent quality microphone.
I would say above average quality microphone.
Yeah, and it also depends, and this also depends on how much of a multiplayer person you are. Obviously, if you play a lot of MMOs and you do a lot of group stuff, chances are one day you're gonna need to jump onto TeamSpeak or Mumble or whatever voice chat program people use. And you're gonna need a decent microphone, because if you don't, communication gets hard.
So let me give everyone here like a pro tip, right? For buy like, all right, you obviously want good sound quality. Why not just get a 2-in-1? Like get a pair of Astros. The A40s are $150, which I know that's pricey, but they do surround sound. They look nice. They're sturdy. They're super comfy. And they come with a really good microphone.
It's kind of a bit of a luxury thing, though.
Okay, well, like, go to Turtle Beach. Get a $50 Turtle Beach.
I mean, like, for me, it's like, you could get a pretty cheap microphone that could do the job just fine.
Well, yeah, I'm saying that, get your 2-for-1. Like, get really good sound. Get the bonus
You
of
can
really
blast
good
the sound in that headset as loud as you want and not disturb your neighbors.
Your neighbors, your wife, whatever it is you have.
Whoever's next door at your apartment, yeah.
Yeah, your roommate, whatever.
Headphones.
Yeah, like spending the $100 to $150 for a really good pair of headphones that have a built-in mic, like, definitely well worth the investment if you're gonna be PC gaming a lot. So yeah, there's that. And the article reset for some dumb reason, so give me a second. Alright. Fraps.
Fraps is in you have to have fraps, or does it just say video capture in general?
Let's see. They say it's their one of choice, but if you just want to use one in general, it's fine.
Okay. The Xbox app in Windows 10 allows for video capture, and I'm pretty sure Nvidia does.
They say Shadowplay is a terrific alternative that won't dent your frame rate as much, but you won't get uncompressed video. So
okay.
Well,
if you want the absolute purest picture of all time, okay.
Yeah, So yeah, those are the 10 essential things.
Yeah, I kind of feel like I only kind of agree with only the third of that list.
So let me go. First off, screwdriver and toolkit can be one thing. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
Screwdriver and good toolkit should be one thing. Like magnetic screwdriver and toolkit should be one thing. Um,
Yeah, I can agree with that.
duster, yes.
Yeah, Durster is good. Yes.
Cable ties, I agree, but that's because like, but I agree
Cable
with cable
ties to me
ties.
is to me cable ties is a case of exactly how much do you care about the detailing of the build of your system? Because I
I
don't use cable ties and I didn't like, oh, I need it.
I I want to get as good at airflow as possible though, and I'm
The
intend to
thing,
get.
like, okay, airflow, all right, my system doesn't overheat and it's not exactly that loud either. I could switch
Uh,
it to liquid cooling, and oh man, my cable ties didn't ruin the liquid cooling. It'll still be as silent as Ray system if I switch to liquid with no cable ties. But
uh,
I feel like cable ties. Yeah, I understand the airflow kind of argument, sort of, and looks.
though
It
though
looks a lot neater when
so
when you don't have stuff running everywhere.
so another like the thing is though is the first off, yes, looks. Two, it makes it easier to work in there for the most part.
Just
And
don't use zip ties.
yeah, don't do that.
Like I think cable ties and almost the first immediate thing that poofed into my head was zip ties because when I bought my power supply or one of the power supplies that I bought, it came with cable ties, but they were zip ties, so you had to cut it if you want to redo the wiring, redo the management. It's kind of stupid.
Um,
Anyways, go ahead.
um, okay, so like though the air management thing doesn't even work as much now because liquid cooling continues to get cheaper and cheaper and easier to install. Like Ray and I learned how to do it in an afternoon. Like it's not this like especially with those like already set up builds. Like it's not so I don't know. I consider that like a middle of the road one.
Yeah, I just don't feel like cable management. Like, if you need that extra 2%, okay.
Um,
That's just me though. I built my system on a budget. I'm not an expert, and I'm pretty sure there's a lot of things in my system that would give plenty of people out there heart attacks. Plenty of professional builders out there heart attacks. Like, why do you use such a terrible case? Why is your hard drive mounted here? Why your oh your airflow's all wrong? Oh, your computer's gonna burn up, and you know what? It runs fine. Runs great. Runs fantastic.
ergonomics.
I don't have to like obsess over every single little detail when I built this thing. I just needed to be careful about certain things. Anyways, ergonomics. Yes,
yes. All right.
your health. Okay, your health. There you go.
Controller. Yep.
Yeah, I
Okay.
can agree with that.
Mousepad. Don't really agree. Like,
I haven't used a mouse pad in years.
uh,
Maybe a decade.
high quality microphone depends on the kind of games you're playing.
I'd say at least a decent quality microphone
I would say.
that isn't shot.
I would say get a good headset that has a good microphone built in. Like that. Like kill two birds with one stone. Spend the extra cash. Like you get the benefit of surround sound and having a good mic. Well, and video capture software. Yeah, sure. Like I'm not like Nvidia is making it so it comes free with all their cards at this point. So I mean,
It depends what card. Does it have to be a GTX?
I believe so. But if you're
Because
like if you're PC gaming, are you using something that's not a GTX?
if you are a person with a slightly crappy laptop playing League, it would kind of matter.
Okay, well this is assuming
And lots of people play League, by the way.
this is assuming you are an enthusiast. This is this whole website. Like PC Gamer is not like the I play League once in a while magazine. This is the magazine for hey, I play a lot of heavy duty PC games.
Yes,
Um,
MOBAs are heavy duty PC games,
okay, fine.
right?
I guess.
I'm sorry, you like what? How are they not?
No, I get what your argument, but I am
It's like
saying that,
the way I look at it, it's like a lot of people play MOBAs and don't have sterling computers, but probably wanted to show people how good they are or something like that. Because I kind of feel like it's like you can't really just say
Well,
no, the
at
people
that
who can
point,
record are only those who are rich enough to own this is such a thing.
okay, well then but that's pretty much true because fraps will fuck your frame rate up hella bad if you don't have a good enough computer. So I mean, you know, like you can't win. You need a decent computer to capture video. Like
I did it
you
with Windows Vista and it looked fine.
okay.
Yeah.
I,
So
I mean,
it really depends on how you do it though.
I mean, I
Yeah.
guess. Um. So moving forward. They also did an article on the best gaming laptops.
What's the price cap on this?
There isn't one.
So this is the absolute best you could get. Money is no object.
Actually, no. They aimed it under $2,000.
Okay, good. So laptops you and I could buy then.
Yes, that was
Okay,
my
good.
my last.
Because if it was an unlimited budget, you might as well call it Falcon Northwest and call it a day.
Uh, so they have three. They have the best gaming laptop. They have the best 15-inch desktop replacement gaming laptop, and the best thin and light gaming laptop.
All for under $2,000. Okay.
Some of them ride up right at the price point. Some of
I'm
them,
pretty sure they do.
one of them is $4 off.
I'm pretty sure that's the case.
Well, I'm not kidding. One of them is $4 off from the cap.
Mm-hmm. 1999. 1995.
1996.
Yes.
59.
Retail.
So, what they consider the best gaming laptop is the Asus Republic of Gamers G75JY, which, if you remember Aaron's old ass computer, it's
Yeah.
the modern take on that. Which
Yeah, I remember working on that thing.
They slimmed it down a little bit. They added a bunch of stuff, and they said the good, exceptional cooling and stays quiet even at full tilt, vibrant display, outperforms other laptops with a 980M, and better gaming battery than the competition. The bad, poor quality speakers, and it's at $1,700. The specs that you get for that price: i7 quad core, a 980, 24 gigs of RAM, a 17.3-inch 1080p display, a 250 gig SSD with a 1 terabyte regular hard drive, a Blu-ray writer, networking A, B, G, N, AC, and Bluetooth, an 8-cell battery, and all the standard ports: headphones, microphones, VGA, HDMI, SD card, etc. And it is 9 pounds 2 ounces. Not
all this for how much?
1,700.
Are you sure that's all standard equipment?
That is it. That is the standard
That
machine.
sounds like a fantastic value. Like you get the SSD, you get the 980, you get the i7, you get the good display, you've got a fan, you got separate fans, you've got better battery life, you've got massive storage, all for $1,700. I think that's a fantastic deal.
There are two on Amazon. One for 1,700, one for 2,000, and if you want to get it off Newegg for whatever reason, it's $2,250 on Newegg.
I think $1,700 is a fantastic value.
Um,
Considering that I have at this point dumped $1,500 into my laptop, which I'm still a little sour about for various reasons.
I paid $1,600 for mine and have been completely satisfied. Other than the fact that I bought my laptop in late 2013 and late 2014 they came out with this thing for Alienware computers only, that they have this special port and you connect it to this device and it can use a desktop GPU. When I found out about that, I was so fucking mad. I was so unbelievably pissed. Um, oh my God. Just like the fact that like my computer would not be behind at all if I had one of those. Because I would just buy a 980 for that stupid
Why
device.
build a new desktop? Just upgrade your graphics card.
Like that is something I thought about honestly. Like I was like, the amount of money that I'm spending on my next desktop, I could just buy another one of these 15-inch laptops with that thing and a bitchin' video card for it.
Yeah, you just need to like research what cards are supported with that thing, if there's like long-term support for it, or if it
Um,
basically is basically just another PCI Express port. So
yeah,
there's some things you need to look into to make sure that it actually does work out in the long run.
I want to look into that. Like I'm gonna look into that and consider it because if I can go that route, I just might. Though, like after helping build Ray's PC, and I'm gonna be working on his PC again in the next week or so. Uh, I've got the itch to do it again. I've got the
The
itch to
itch
like
is dangerous.
it's how it's how you end up spending ridiculous amounts of money on computer shit.
You gotta be careful about the itch. Sometimes I have compulsive purchases, and yeah, some of them were bad decisions.
So, let's see. So next up is the Origins 15-inch machine. It's the EON 15S. It's the laptop that the guys over at Kinda Funny use. Basically the same specs as the last machine, but but less RAM, and it clocks in at just under $2,000. And it will, and yeah, they basically said the good room for RAM, M2, and SSD upgrades, powerful for the size, customizable to lower cost or improve performance. The bad, lackluster display panel.
Yeah, if I'm gonna get a gaming laptop, I want my display to be good. Because that's what I'm looking at to play games.
Yeah, for sure. So going further down this road, the what they named as the best thin and light gaming laptop. Uh, so they ended up choosing the MSI GS60 Ghost Pro. It is just under 5 pounds at 4 pounds 6 ounces, not including the power adapter. It has great build quality and a strong performance for a thin and light notebook. The bad, the fan gets super loud. It's too hot to sit on your lap, and it has weak battery life.
Well, I'm sorry, when you want it to be thin, you gotta make some sacrifices. So when you're thin, you can't really put as big of a heatsink in there, or maybe as big of a fan, and your battery has to shrink too, because it can't be as tall. What was the other one? Oh, you can't put it on. You can't put it on your lap. Do I game on my lap?
I mean, I've seen some people do that, like LAN parties and stuff, but not
Yeah,
really.
I would do that for like Civ 5.
Yeah.
Turn-based stuff, not action-orientated stuff. But yeah, I've gamed on my lap before. But yeah, two of those points is like, well, yeah, when you're thin, you can't really put as much cooling power, and you definitely can't have as tall of a battery in there. So
All right.
yeah.
So those are the options. So those are what the three best that they said. They gave a couple of other options that they didn't say much about, including the MSI GT80 Titan, which is the biggest one that they tested, and it's the biggest one they tested, but it also broke all their laptop performance records, and it is sitting at $2,500. And they
Okay.
also did the Falcon Northwest, but the price is what knocked it out of the running.
Well, yeah, dude. Like Falcon Northwest. I'm sorry, you don't go there to get a cheap deal.
No. Quite honestly, like Alienware laptops are actually probably one of the better deals
It's one
for.
of the better mass assembled systems you can get, possibly if that's one way of putting it.
Like,
They're still mass produced in a factory and built by robots, but it's one of the better mass produced robot assembled laptops.
yeah, for sure.
Like MSI likely has most of their systems built in a factory as well. So, it depends how you look at it.
Yeah. I mean, still, it makes sense. Anyway, do we get any last comments on our last episode of The Raid?
Oh, give me a second to take a quickie look. Pending the loading of this page. We do have a comment. This is from WoW Fan. When do you guys think WoW 2 will come out? World of Warcraft 2.
That's really weird that he brings this up because I was actually just thinking about this like the other day when I was leveling my mage. I'm like, man, I'm having a lot of fun, but like, I feel that certain things about this game can be improved by tech. Um, and uh, I mean that's a hard one, man, because I like the game is still doing well right now. Like 10 years in, it's still the number one MMO, and I don't know when they will like be like, let's move it to a new thing. If they were to, they would have to find a like significant benefit to technology, like how this tech can significantly improve the game, and migrate all your crap over. Like that's the big thing
Migrating. That's
because
oh.
because people have like 10 years of progress, right?
What are you going to migrate?
I mean,
Like
like
what are we migrating?
your characters.
Okay. Are we migrating items?
Yeah, you have to.
Then they will have to do 3D models of every single item in that game.
Yeah,
Although, and that would be way too
that
much.
that's the only way that works, though. You can't make WoW 2 without doing that. They have trapped themselves. They have created this horrible fucking nightmare scenario.
So don't make a WoW 2 and just keep releasing expansions until the day when everyone finally does give up on it, right?
Like that's the only way. That's the only way.
So
you
WoW
can do
2
it.
will WoW 2 is not going to happen, which I can actually kind of see that.
Because the only way it happens is if like you because what happened because they don't want to have what happened with EverQuest, because what happened with EverQuest is like people had like 4 or 5, like they had 5 years of like really good like progress and content and stories, and then EverQuest 2 comes out and none of that carried over, and everyone said fuck this game, we're going to World of Warcraft or we're going to EverQuest back to the original. So, granted, World of Warcraft was like revolutionary in a bunch of ways that made people want to stay, but um, yeah, like I don't see WoW 2 like you either have to migrate everything over or you just have to like or not do it, or if you do it, you have to like migrate characters and character progress over. So, and even then, I don't know. I'm not even sure how the hell that would work. I mean, they can just do what they did with the Cataclysm. Really, is just be like, "Fuck it, we're gonna reshape the world off of Event A." Like we've been working on this expansion for like 6 years, and it redoes fucking everything. Like that'd be the smart route to go.
So an expansion.
Like yeah, like I don't like unless that they literally cannot do something in that tech.
Yeah, yeah. World of Warcraft 2.
Because I'm
Would you
not
say
sure.
would you say that the game in its current state, or I would say like in its good state of like Mists of Pandaria or whatever, would you say it has changed so much that it is World of Warcraft 2 at that point? Compared
I
to the original release of like 8 years before that.
Oh, hell yes. Like, go look at WoW, like, in vanilla, then go look at, like, Mists of Pandaria. Like, yeah, some things are the same, but, like, a lot of stuff is different. Like, the way certain abilities work, the way certain classes are played, the way questing is. Like in vanilla WoW, when you did a quest, it was all the way up until midway through Wrath of the Lich King when they released patch, I believe it was 3.2 or 3.3. It was okay, you got a quest. How do I find out where to go? Well, if you do it currently, you pull up your map and there's a circle on where the area is or where you need to go. Back in the day, it was you had to read the quest text and be like, to the southeast of Darrowshire, past the lake, there are a bunch of wolves that need to go be murdered. So you would go southeast of Darrowshire, past the lake, and there'd be a bunch of wolves that need to be murdered.
You actually have to
So
figure out with your brain and look at a map.
yeah, I'd look at a map. Yeah, you had to have a brain basically. Um,
I just can't help but sit here and I'm like, man, the real world equivalent. Instead of like saying, yeah, after this street, turn this street, and at the light, make a right. Nowadays, it's like, oh, just give me the address and let me punch in my GPS.
I, yeah, like very similar in fact. Oddly enough, now that you bring that up. So like there's that, like there's dungeon finders now. Like back in vanilla WoW,
Oh
like
man,
yeah, no. This is
man.
back in vanilla WoW, you had to go into so once again, that was another change that happened during Wrath of the Lich King, where you would go into trade chat and you'd be like looking for group um I don't know, dead mines. Need two more, three more, whatever, looking for more dead mines, need one more, no more hunters. Um like shit like that. And you just have to sit in trade chat and ask around and keep asking. Versus now where you hit a button, you go do stuff. Same thing with PvP actually. PvP, that was another thing where it was just like it used to be like you had to sit in town and talk to the battle master to queue up, and now it's just straight up, hey, go do this. Go queue while I go do something. So, um,
Okay.
so yeah, that's a change. That game is like if Vanilla Warcraft came out now, other than the fact that it has Warcraft style and humor, and some of the content is still in there from that original game, they would be almost unrecognizable.
Wow.
Uh,
That's a lot of change.
well, I mean, we've had the discussion on this show, like the good old days. Uh,
Back in my day.
Back in my day, attunements exist.
Back in
Well,
my day, you had to feed your pet.
that was dumb. That was really that was really stupid. I remember there was warlocks had to use stones to summon demons. That was stupid.
I
Uh,
remember like hunters had to swap weapons or something like that when you were in melee range. I forgot. There was like something that they fixed later on, but early in Cataclysm when I was like still leveling a hunter, there was just something about the like you had a melee. Oh, I remember what it was now. It used to be that you had your bow, but if the enemy got too close to you, you can't use your bow anymore. You gotta switch to your lance or spear or whatever the hell you had at the time, and did really pathetic amounts of damage, hoping that your pet would tear the enemy apart. But then they changed it to, yeah, your bow works at any range now. Well, at least I think that's how it is, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, like that
it's
that
not.
that was a stupid thing because you didn't have many melee skills to use, and oh man, you're a hunter, you're not a swordsman, so your DPS is a load of fail. So when you're at the distance, you better just zerg all the DPS you can at the enemy before it gets too close, and you have to pull out your stupid sword. Oh, and you have to feed your pet because if your pet goes hungry, well, your pet's not gonna work for you too well.
Oh
So
god, like I said,
you had to go out and you better hope that you kept the meat that from all the animals you killed, so that way you can feed your pet, so your pet will be happy. And if you overfed your pet just a little bit, it would be well fed and gives you 110% damage on your pet. And then they threw that away, so that was good.
man, there's a lot of shit that you never experienced.
Well, I look, like I said, I played in the early Cataclysm days, so I have like some ideas of
Like,
like, hey, what is this?
you were like right at the end of like what you would call the Dark Ages, I guess.
Really?
Um,
Because I was showed up right at the end of the Happy Days too. Because it's like I showed up right when everyone left the door. Like everyone walked out the door. That's what it was. Because I showed like, ironically, I got World of Warcraft for the first time during the Wrath of the Lich King days, but I only played for 2 minutes and thought, no. But then I finally came back and actually started completely over again with Cataclysm, and I'm like, okay, so everyone keeps telling me Wrath of the Lich King is awesome, everyone's playing this game, everyone I know has this game, alright, let's play it, and I showed up right when the good days ended.
I think that's just because like Wrath was the high point, right?
Yes, and I
Like
showed up
Pandaria,
right after it was over.
like not to say that like Kata was needed.
It's
Kata was some
good. Like,
Kata
Cataclysm
was
is
something that
good.
needed to happen.
Look,
Pandaria was
Cataclysm, like, everyone rags on Cataclysm like crazy, saying, I don't, like, I've heard just about everything. It's like, some say it's, oh, this is wrong. That basically, Cataclysm was the start of everyone became an analyst on how to fix World of Warcraft kind of expansion. So, but at the same time, it's like, I'm not really a World of Warcraft guy, but I really highly respect it, and I totally understand why this is as big as it is. It's just not really my kind of MMO, or it's not my kind of game. That particular game is not for me. But I really liked it. I liked it a lot. I played it when I played it for like a month at a time. I would play it a lot for a month at a time. Like, you know, I don't just pick up a game just because I force myself. I picked up that game because I wanted to play it, and it was really good. It was very. I thought it was pretty well designed because the world just didn't really click with me too well. The cheesiness was
um
Hyjal was amazing. I loved Hyjal. Hyjal's awesome. Bashir, hate that place.
you and
I
everyone else who has ever played that
I
game.
hate freaking Bashir. Hyjal's awesome. What other zones did they have at the time? Redid the old world. That was a big thing in Cataclysm.
Like
Redoing the world.
if they were to make a World of Warcraft 2, they would have to redo the old world. I don't mean like just Eastern Kingdom's Kalimdor. I mean like all of it. Like every like Outland, like sadly Pandaria. Like as much as that hurts me to say, because Pandaria is wonderful. Like I love Mists a lot. Like Pandaria, Northrend. Like Northrend is another one that kind of saddens me because it's awesome. Um, Outland, which really needs to be redone. Like
The
Outland,
issue is that
out,
redoing something, man, with something the size of Azeroth and Outland and all that stuff, it is astronomically expensive.
this goes back to my thing where they can't win, so they should not try, and they should just continue to put out great expansions until they can make a new MMO that's really well made.
That isn't canceled.
Yeah, World of StarCraft. There you
Yeah.
go.
Or whatever the brand new fantasy project is.
World of Overwatch. There you go.
I don't.
World of Hearthstone.
Hearthstone is based on Warcraft, so you're just looping back to yourself.
That one I was joking.
Yes. You're just looping back to yourself at that point. But yeah, like in the case of Final Fantasy 14 and 11, it was like 14 different world, different gameplay style than 11, and there were a lot of people that migrated from 11 to 14, but they weren't too upset about it because 11 had pretty much evidently reached the end, and I think a lot of players decided, what, it's time to move on.
Well, the difference there though is like they don't have this massive world that is canon. Like that's the problem.
I don't know. Like you're see now. Okay, at that point, I'm just like, I don't know if it's really canon people are interested in, because I look at MMOs, or I look at Warcraft, and I look at Final Fantasy 14, and I kind of notice a lot of people care a lot more about the dungeons and all that kind of stuff than actual story. They probably don't really care what the War of the Ancients was or why the hell Deathwing became bad. They just want to kill the bad dragon and get the loots.
I agree with you on that, but like still they have to think about the fans that matter and the world they've built. So it is very much this thing of where that they do have to think about that. And
they have to think about the nostalgia and the memories they're killing.
Yeah, but like they do have to think about that, because like, do you really want to piss off all those original fans of like Warcraft 3 and shit like that? Like, so like all the World of Warcraft stuff is canon. So what do? Like, you can do Warcraft 2, but you have to, like World of Warcraft 2, but you have to set it in that world and appease those fans. Like, that's option A. You could get rid of all that and like say, you could say, oh, that stuff never happened. That was all like we're doing World of Warcraft in. We're picking up from Warcraft 3 and just piss everyone off. Just piss everyone off super hard.
Yeah, that like in a way that's like saying your characters didn't exist. Yeah. Because like if we're discarding that from canon, we are discarding all your characters too. Because you guys didn't do anything and none of that existed. Sorry, bye.
It's like option A, you remake everything and transfer all the shit over. Option B, you disregard all of it and say fuck you. You see what I mean by you can't win. You literally.
I think it's got too big.
Like,
yeah, it's so big.
You can just make expansions. You can make expansions, and you make expansions, add-ons. You can do a really big expansion like Cataclysm. Like that's an option. You could do the Cataclysm, like not Cataclysm again, but like like that is an option. Like, okay, what's gonna fuck up the world this time? Well, there's an old god in the Eastern Kingdoms, or blank, and like there's not many enemies. That's like Sargeras is back, I guess. That would be one. Like Sargeras, like at the end of Legion, be like, yo, you summoned Sargeras into this world, and he just fucked everything up. Like that is a realistic one, I guess, but like most of the options you have are not going to make the general populace happy. So.
It's World of Warcraft just like in a really tight spot sometimes. You're still number one, but a lot of people want to play analyst to how to bring the game back to the glory days. A lot of people say this thing, a lot of people say another thing, and it's like, wow, like if you're a guy trying to make decisions with this game, you're gonna like piss off everybody no matter what you do.
Exactly. Like that's why they just
it's like after Wrath of Lich King, you can't really, and the game never really got back to that point, and I don't think it ever will, because
No, it's never going to get back to
and a lot of
13
people want to think that they know the solution to go back to Wrath of the Lich King days. Actually, there is a way to go back to Wrath of the Lich King. It's called rewind the clock and playing Wrath of the Lich King.
It's play on a private Wrath server. Like that's a thing. There are people who are made private servers that where you can play for free.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure Blizzard's out there hunting them down for that. That's pretty much reverse engineering game code or whatever.
Like there are totally fucking Wrath of the Lich King and Vanilla and Burning Crusade and even Cataclysm private servers. Like that is a thing. So if you really want to,
it's a time capsule.
Yeah, because I mean, online games don't really have that in a lot of cases, where they have that time capsule. But in a way, this is it. Like, you want to progress through that stuff again and relive those moments. There you go. So, I mean, that's obviously up to up to people playing on those. Like, it's personally not for me. I mean, I've gone over what I think they should do over and over again, but get back to characters people give a crap about and lore. So it seems like they're doing that with Legion, or write new lore that's really good. Like Pandaria, they wrote a bunch of new lore that was really, really good. The Thunder King was kind of the shit. So yeah, there's that. Get your difficulty evened out. Because, ever since Kata, it's been, too hard, too easy. And, there's no challenge for anyone unless you are, a mythic raider. If you are just a regular person, there is no challenge for you. But, if you are a mythic raider, there's plenty of challenge. You're the only one.
Okay. So I decided to do this experiment because after last year and being shocked by this discovery, I'm like, so EverQuest expansions, they still exist.
Was there another one?
There's one. If I were to look at the schedule, there's one due out this month.
Really?
Because the last one that came out for EverQuest 1 was from October 28th, 2014.
Wow, that's fucking crazy.
They basically have been putting out a expansion every single year.
That's
so right about this month or next month, they're due for another one.
That's what Blizzard said they want to do with WoW, is they want to start turning it into a yearly thing.
A yearly mega patch, basically?
Yearly mega patch, which, I mean, okay. I kind of prefer the current, what was the current method until fucking this expansion, which
it's just why can't we just build up hype for the next expansion? It was just oh man, there's gonna be this new world instead of becoming there's gonna be a new big patch coming.
Yeah. So anyway, continue.
Yeah, but yes. So EverQuest 1's due for another patch because there was one that came out last year.
That game, you do realize how old that game came out in 1999. That game is so goddamn old school. It's ridiculous.
And people still play it.
Oh.
Because expansions are still being made for it.
Oh, I just, oh my god, I've told you stories about that game, right?
Yes, sometimes you would need to de-level to do something.
Yeah.
And if you died, you lost experience.
So I refreshed myself on the encounter that I wanted to talk to you about on this podcast. Which, okay, so the first expansion comes out, and it has this thing where you can get a legendary weapon. And this was for the cleric, which is the priest in WoW, which I don't know what it would be in Final Fantasy. White mage. Yeah, it'd be white mage.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's the cleric. It's for his legendary weapon. You had to go on a dragon raid that you couldn't participate in because in that game it was some content was only for certain leveled players. So you had to go on this dragon raid that you couldn't participate in. So you had to find a group of lobies to go do this fucking raid for you, or not lobies, just other people to do this raid for you, and then you had to sit in the spot where the dragon was on a 72-hour timer. Or not, so he could spawn at any point in that 72 hours. Sometimes he'll spawn in 68, sometimes he'll spawn in 50, sometimes he'll spawn in 5. You just don't know. But not only that, he has this ads in his cave. So you have to, and you need a group to kill those giant ads. So what you would have to do is you would have to talk to people in your guild that were online and have them help you. And if you died, some other cleric and his group of friends can totally hijack your spot, because such was game etiquette at the time.
Holy shit.
Yeah, no. Hold on. Let me pull up this story that I was reading about this. This was when I was reading about this, I was like, this cannot be a thing. In fact, I think I'm gonna start I have a list of these EverQuest stories that I think I'm just going to keep around for when
Yes, please do. Let people know how hard things can truly be.
just you don't know pain. You don't
know pain or suffering until you've actually lived the EverQuest 1 days.
Yeah, EverQuest was a weird game. It was a weird game. Hold on, the story is taking a minute to pull up.
Yeah, we probably should wrap up soon because I'm gonna pass out.
I know. Hold on, I know. I'm trying to find it. I'm gonna say, yeah, I'm definitely gonna save this blog about EverQuest stories so whenever we have a dead week on the raid, just let people know it could be worse. It could be much worse.
You think farming for that mount for 40? What was it again? 44 hours? 3 hours a day. You think farming for a mount 3 hours a day for 2 weeks is bad? Wait till you hear this.
Yeah, basically. That's the way I'm summing it up. Hold on.
You kind of realize that in this process, we're going to sound a bit like old men, right? You think your games are hard? Well, back in my day.
Yeah. I like the name of the blog, The EverQuest Retirement Home for the Nostalgic.
Yes.
All right, so here we go. I'm bookmarking this blog.
So while you're doing that, some interesting trivia. So EverQuest 1 at this point has 21 expansions.
Fucking A, man.
EverQuest 2 has 14 expansions.
Damn.
EverQuest Next, no idea. That thing's nobody's really said anything about it for a while.
All right, so first expansion comes out. It is this is the notorious last leg of the cleric epic weapon, the water sprinkler of Nem-Aka.
The water sprinkler? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I know. Zordok Ragefire is a red dragon who first appears as a human merchant. He must be slain in order to obtain the last piece in this quest. The cleric going for it would need the help of 30 to 40 players to help defeat the dragon, but that was the easiest part. First of all, Ragefire only spawned in Negafen's lair, and in the same part of the zone as Lord Negafen himself. Negafen was one of the original dragon boss fights in the game. So you're thinking 2 dragons at once? Nope, that'd be easier than the truth. The problem is Negafen is that in an attempt to keep content available to lower level players, Variant had put a level cap on Negafen, which meant if you were to be above level 52 and attacked him, you'd be teleported out of the zone. Ragefire could only spawn if Negafen was dead. So this meant that the cleric and his friends would need to organize an open raid on Negafen that they couldn't participate in. Once that was completed, the real fun began. After that, an invisible timer started where there was a 4% chance of Ragefire to spawn. At the end of hour number 2, 5%, 3, 6, so on and so forth. And it gets so that means There were a possible of up to 96 hours that you could have to sit there and camp this spot. But it gets worse. Fire giants would respawn every 6 hours, regardless of whether or not the Negafen is dead or not. So you are so only are you potentially going to be awake for 4 days, but you need the help from at least 5 or 6 people several times a day, possibly in the middle of the night, to help. And if you didn't get the help in time, another group could potentially take your camp. There weren't any official rules. Basically, you forfeited the camp whether you were there 6 hours or 86. The same goes for the rage fire spawns. If you couldn't mobilize enough people for the red dragon, someone else could come in and take it. Fall asleep, forfeit, internet goes out, forfeit. So, recap. Complete a dragon raid in which you can't participate in. Be prepared to stay in one spot for up to 4 days real time. Enlist the help of several friends to help you kill fire giants every 6 to 8 hours. Hope you have enough friends or guild members online to quickly mobilize and kill rage fire when it spawns.
This was 1999, right?
This expansion pack came out in 1999-2000.
Okay, so assuming that you didn't have cable and you were on dial-up, that meant that you have pretty much cut off your house or apartment phone line for 4 days. And back then, cell phones weren't exactly 100% prevalent yet, so basically you had just cut off all communication with the outside world for 4 days because you needed something for your cleric.
I don't know. I'm trying to remember when we got cable internet. I think we got cable
I know, but
internet.
you guys were, like, your household was, like, more ahead of the curve. In 1999-2000, my household was still on dial-up, and a lot of households were still on dial-up.
I think we got cable in, like, 2001. Yeah,
yes.
That's when we got cable in 01.
Yeah, but you guys were kind of ahead of the curve. Like, my household, we were still on dial-up.
We got it purely because my dad was impatient.
Yeah.
My dad was a very impatient man. So, like, he was just like, I'm tired of waiting to do my banking. I'm tired of all this. This can solve my problems. I will pay whatever asinine fee they want me to pay. And I think at the time, they were like, it was like $100 a month for like 1 megabyte a second.
Yeah.
Like, it was.
But.
It was
wow,
like, you got one.
First time I saw cable, we got like 512. We got like half a megabit per second, and oh my goodness, loading web pages was so amazing.
Dude, fast. Like the fact that I listened to Rob, Arnie, and Don ever since I was like 12, and the fact that I could go onto their website and listen to their audio files in like in a super fast manner, like it was what used to take like an hour to fully load a like 40-minute show took like 10 minutes. It was awesome.
I remember when 6 megabyte files meant you leaving the internet on in your house for a good 3 or 4 hours to download. Yeah, add-on cards for Need for Speed 3. But yeah, that was back in the day when you used dial-up, you had no phone connection because you probably had a cell phone, one cell phone for your entire house, and that was it. And even then, it was a giant brick you couldn't really carry around too easily.
I'm trying to remember when I got my first cell phone. I think it was in 6th grade. I remember I got my first cell phone in 6th grade, and it was because I was going to Yu-Gi-Oh tournaments. My parents wanted me to check in every hour and a half to 2 hours. But this was 2003, so not everyone had cell phones like now, so you couldn't depend on someone in the area having a cell phone. And you're like, okay, that's fine. Like, so you have to use the payphone in the mall. But I'm there all day. I'm checking in with the payphone every like hour to 2 hours. So they added up and they're like, it is significantly cheaper just to get him a Nokia brick than it is to keep paying for this fucking to pay for these payphones.
Yeah.
It would be asinine if we didn't get him a cell phone. So that's how I got my first cell phone, and I literally had nothing but Nokia bricks all the way until high school, my sophomore year of high school, when I got the Razor. And at that point, the Razor was 3 years old, but to me, it was the nicest cell phone I ever had by like a mile, by not even close. It wasn't even close to what was the second. Like, it was the nicest. Like, this thing had a camera, like a camera on a cell phone. This was witchcraft, as far as I was concerned. Um, like it had basic internet access. I could go on AOL on this thing. Like, what the fuck?
Wow.
Yeah, I could aim people. I could message people on AIM.
All this jargon, you're just making my head hurt now.
Do you
It's
feel
like
old
time,
yet?
just time warp.
So there was all
Man.
that. There was all that good stuff, and then my mom's contract with AT&T runs out, and she doesn't like how expensive it is. So we stopped our AT&T service, and then after that, we had Cricket for like 4 months, but the service was garbage, so we got rid of it. And then so our service was garbage, and we got rid of it. And then I didn't have a cell phone for about a year and a half, and then we got iPhones. So I went from like bricks to a Razor to garbage, like the most garbage cell phones imaginable, to doing nothing but iPhones. Like if Apple keeps releasing quality products, I literally do not think I will get another cell phone besides iPhones at this point. Like I'm just so locked into the ecosystem.
Well, you never know. 20 years, things could change.
Oh yeah, I know. I'm
You
saying
never know.
if things.
Yeah, just think about it. 20 years ago, Apple was like what? Kind of dead?
20 years ago was
1995.
yeah, like Apple.
Windows 95 came out and dominated.
Yeah.
I remember using Windows 95.
I remember 98. Like 98 was the first OS I really got to tool around with.
I remember Windows 95 and the Pentium 1 90 megahertz computer that it ran on.
I'm actually reading all about the about like Steve Jobs right now and the Apple II and its success. Like Anthony, if you ever get the chance, like read. I'll give you the book. It's just like called Steve Jobs. I've forgotten who the author is, but like he is a fascinating person to read about. Like I'm not sure if he is the most like he is not the most likable person I've ever read about. He is, like there's a lot of shit that you will dislike about Steve Jobs as a person reading about him, but like there's a lot to like, and just he is a fascinating individual.
On that note, I need sleep.
Okay, fine. Anyway, everyone, this has been The Raid, the GamerAccess.com's PC gaming technology podcast. You can follow us on Facebook.com by looking up TheGamerAccess.com. You can follow us on Twitter at TheGamerAccess. And you can also follow us on Twitch.tv, where the Shiitake stream and the Super Senpais start their return stream this Wednesday at 9 in the morning. We hope, and also on that same Twitch page, you will find a donation button. On which donation button you can help us donate, or you can donate to help us go to things like E3, PAX, PSX, get us equipment for capture cards and microphones. One day, possibly even feed us. So
we're not being fed.
I mean, sometimes. Sometimes I'm like, do I want to get a copy of Forza or do I want to get groceries? I've had that discussion.
I see.
I'm joking, but no. Ideally, we would like this to be a full-time job eventually, and you can help us do that. So, if you feel it is worth it, if you feel it is worth $1, if you feel it is worth a penny, if you feel any of our content is worth it,
no, it is not worth a penny because F pennies.
Penny,
a nickel.
Penny.
If it's worth a nickel, yes.
If it is worth a nickel, if we are worth at least a nickel or higher to you, please go on our Twitch page, click the donation button, and help us out because every little bit helps. Funding our way to events, super rad. Anthony, you got anything to say?
I am tired.
Once again, the Super
Thank
Senpai...
you for listening.
Thank you for listening. Once again, Super Senpai Bros are back next week at 9 in the morning on Wednesday and Thursday. We hope you all come and watch. Have a nice day.
Bye.
We love you.